This is the iPhone SE, and today you receive an official update to iOS 11. We've been covering the beta for a very long time here on the channel, but there is so many things to be found within this update, from the new control center to the new lock screen to the bold typeface fonts across the operating system. You're getting so much here, and this now has AR capabilities on pretty much all the iPhones with iOS 11. So this is my iPhone SE full review of iOS 11. That video is coming up right now. Let's go. So what is up, guys? Nick here, helping you to master your technology, and the official iOS 11 is now here for your Apple iPhone SE. I'm currently running the GM build, and I do have 15A372, no A there. Now, iOS 11, 1.86 gigabytes for the download for me on my iPhone SE, but if you do it through iTunes and you're coming from a GM, it's like 2.5 gigabytes. I'm gonna show you how to install this if you are coming from a GM or a beta, but you can just pause right here to check out all of the features. There's new App Store, there's new map features, way more iPad features, which really is the winner here in the iOS ecosystem is the iPad. But if you want to save some time, just scrub through this and pause and read these features if you want to know them. We're going to cover most of them here. So the lock screen presents you automatically with a bolder passcode number system, so it just looks a little bit different. Also, the clock gets a little bit smaller here on the iPhone SE, but the way you interact with the lock screen is about the same here on the official iOS 11, so no too much difference there. But once you do get into the system itself, it starts to change quite a bit here. So iOS 11, 15A372 and 2.65 gigabytes on official. I lost a little bit of space, same build number, so GM users, you probably don't even have to update this if you don't want to. But you can see the control center is one of the first things you're going to notice if you are new to iOS 11. You now have the ability to long press controls, and that gives you kind of a 3D touch like feature here for your iPhone SE. Now, you also have screen recording, which is going to be great for people who like to show tutorials and stuff they're using on their iPhone. That's going to be pretty awesome for all iOS 11 users. So going into settings, you can go to customize control in the control center settings, and you can see all of the stuff you can add there. This can be a very populated control center now here for iOS 11. So, you know, keep that in mind. This is a very useful feature that you're now getting to use here on your iPhone with this new update here. And I think it's going to be one of the best features of the new operating system. So going into settings, we do have new wallpapers as well. Now, if you've been following the channel, you've seen the GM build. These been leaked about a week ago. These are the new wallpapers. They actually don't look quite as good, I think, as the older official versions, but hey, it is what it is, and it looks a little bit more modern, a little bit more new. Now, you do notice that you will get a file system here in iOS 11 as well. So no matter which iOS 11 device you're using, you now have the ability to use files across your system. So if you use a Mac, an iPad, an iPhone, it's going to get really good. You can also create folders here built right in to the iPhone. Now, this is a little bit limited. It's not the most robust file system. You can't do everything you can on Android. You're going to be mostly working with cloud space storage on here, but it's still going to be pretty useful nonetheless. Now, interacting with the lock screen notifications or notifications tray in general is a little bit different. You can see it's now a clear background. If you swipe to the right, you see open. If you swipe to the left, you can see view and clear. So it's definitely a little bit different than we had on iOS 10, and it's a little bit cleaned up. I think it looks a little more classy. Now, one of the main standout features of the new operating system is App Store. So you can see App Store now gets really good for 4-inch screen users, because you can see the card view on the TV view is a lot bigger, and also the apps is just cleaned up. It looks better. If you go to the apps view, you can see everything's a little bit easier to read because of the bold type font faces. Update section, everything is super clean here. Also, there's an update for being easier to do reviews and read other people's reviews here on the iOS 11. So I think you guys are really going to enjoy what you do get here for iOS 11 when it comes to the App Store. You can see right here, so easy to read everything. And there's also a little bit of a change here when it comes to the dock on the iPhone SE. There's no longer text at the dock of your iPhone SE. You can see right there, it's gone. Some could say it's more minimalistic, it's more clean. I would agree with you, because if we look at iOS 10 here, you can see we have our numbers kind of squashed together and our letters squashed together at the bottom there. Now utilities, we do see all these different icons. I placed them in a folder. Those are the new icon changes, not too many, but the calculator definitely looks a lot different from the past, but it's still not the most functional calculator in the world. We still don't have a history function here on that calculator. Now going down into the calendar, you can see we do have bold type font faces across the iOS 11 operating system. You can see November, December, October. It's just very much in sync. But what about the camera, you might be asking? Well, the camera gives you new filter effects and a lot of new live photo features as well. So if you do like to use live photos and you like filters, you're gonna love what you get here for your camera. But other than that, the software seems to be about the same, still functional, still a pretty great software. You still have to go to settings to change to 4K and stuff like that here. In terms of the Apple Maps application, you do have the ability to use your maps indoor malls as well as airports. So for travelers out there, you're probably really gonna like what you're getting here with Apple Maps on your iPhone SE. Now, Do Not Disturb mode is also improved here within iOS 11. You have the ability to use this while driving, and this is supposed to decrease your distractions while driving, hopefully making the road a safer place for everyone. So I would definitely dive in and check that one out if you do drive a lot day to day. Now, augmented reality is now the single biggest AR platform in the world on iOS, because after today, when millions of people install this software, they're gonna have the ability to use this if they are aware of it. It's of an emerging technology, but I think it's gonna be a successful hit because it places AR in your visual field and doesn't require you to wear goggles or anything on your head. Now, Siri also gets some updates. It looks a little bit more, cleaned up. It's got a more modern look. And also, she's supposed to have a more natural language, or he, depending on which voice feedback you do use. Now, Apple Maps also has a little bit of a cleanup. It's a little bit visually more pleasing, as well as the new top story section here for iOS 11. So check out Apple News if you do read Apple News. I don't really read the news that much, but if you're into that whole thing, it's cleaned up here for you. It looks a little bit more modern, matches the operating system a little bit better. Now, Apple Music gets the ability to share music with friends as well as share playlists. So there's some cool features there if you're in Apple Music. Now, iMessage gets new apps within the iMessage itself. So you can see third-party developers can now add stickers and stuff like that to go along with the iMessage, just making iMessage a little bit more powerful than it was in iOS 10. But we don't see the Apple pay-to-pay function, which they touted at WWDC 2017. So that's rumored to come later this fall here. You might be saying, Nick, what about the performance on the SE for iOS 11? Well, you can see right here, it looks liquid smooth. I'm just going ADD on the boy right here, and you could see definitely looks very smooth in the lock screen widgets tray, as well as the camera burst mode works very good as well. And just using the operating system now is a much improved experience over what we had in the beta editions, and I think you guys are going to be just fine when it comes to using this thing day to day. Now, battery life, I will talk more about later. We're going to do an all-day battery test around the city of Chicago with this thing, getting a real-world look at that later this weekend, so stay tuned for that. But I think one area that is going to need to be improved is the third-party app support, because not everybody has updated their apps for this new system just yet, but the big players have already done so. Should you update your iPhone SE to iOS 11 at 1.86 gigabytes? Absolutely. You get plenty of new features and you get a much more modern, updated system. Found this video helpful? Hit the thumbs up for me. Nick here, helping you to master your technology. Be sure to be well. I will catch you all in the next episode. Subscribe if you are new, and peace.